Hi, I'm Lynn Sharber, and I'm a student in Dr. Jim Hadabaugh's TCH-539 class, and this is my presentation for my action research proposal, which is about increasing reading fluency in first grade students through video recordings and teacher interventions. So the goal of my action plan is to improve reading fluency of first grade students. It focuses on fluency and prosody, which will lead to comprehension. Fluency is the rate at which you read. It's often measured on an assessment as the number of words read correctly for 1 minute. And prosody is the inflections and tones in which you read out loud. In other words, does your reading sound like you're speaking, or are you reading like a robot or slowing way down to sound out words? When students have to slow down their reading too much to sound out words, then they are on cognitive overload and they can't concentrate on the meaning. So instead, they have to concentrate on decoding or sounding out the words. So, my proposed action plan to help first graders increase their fluency and prosody includes the use of repeated readings along with teacher and peer feedback using recordings of students reading. And as you can see, I will take an oral reading fluency, which is called an ORF score, and I will calculate that every Monday and Friday to show growth. Let's talk about how I'm going to collect the data and manage it. Before this even begins, I'll get written permission from the parents or guardians, of course, and I'll talk to the students also so they understand what the project is about. So on Mondays, students will get a new DIBELS passage. Now, DIBELS is put out by the University of Oregon, and they have free reading passages that are normed for each grade level. And when students get their passage, they'll read it and they'll record themselves, and then they'll meet with me and we'll talk about words that they need to sound out better, some interventions that need to be done. We'll talk about their prosody and fill out a rubric for that. And then I can go back and calculate an ORF score based on that recording. On Tuesdays, the students will keep practicing and they can get feedback either from me or a paraprofessional or maybe a peer. On Wednesday, the students are going to record themselves again and they'll listen to it and they'll listen for improvement. On Thursday, students will practice and get feedback or intervention help again. And Friday, the students will record themselves one last time, and then I'll be able to get another ORF score from that, and we will listen to it together, the student and the teacher one-on-one, and we'll fill out a prosody rubric, and we'll talk about everything that they did right that week. And then on Monday, the process will start over again, and this will last for about 9 weeks or for the quarter. So all the data that I collect, if it's on paper, like the rubrics they fill out, those will be kept in a locked cabinet. And if it's on the computer, like when I'm graphing their ORF scores, that'll be kept in a password protected file on my computer. Let's talk about each stakeholder. The students, of course, are responsible for reading and recording themselves and filling out their prosody rubrics and talking to the teacher and the paras, getting some help if they need it. I'm responsible for getting all the resources off of the DIBELS site, for setting up the graphs to chart their ORF each week. I'm responsible for meeting with the kids and giving them feedback or more intervention that drills down more into the phonics helps that they need. The paraprofessional is amazing in my classroom, and she is very qualified and trained on how to give intervention also. And so she can give them feedback and interventions throughout the process. Parents and guardians will be, of course, giving their permission for the action research project. And then on Fridays, their children will bring home a QR code for them that I'll print out, and the parents can then scan the QR code and listen to their child read and hear all their improvement. We have a reading specialist in our building, and she'll be able to look at the data with me and decide, what the trends are, if I need to change anything. And of course, she'll give me input on better intervention strategies if I need it. The special education teacher will have access to everything for her students who are on IEPs, and she can give me insight as to how to help them also. And the principal and administration, they're also another stakeholder in this process, and they will be able to give me feedback on the process and give me any notes, have any questions about what I need to change. What I expect the outcomes and benefits to be is this: every student is going to grow in their fluency and their prosody, which means that they're going to grow in their comprehension. And I really think that their confidence in reading is going to soar, and they're going to be more and more excited about reading. So in the future, I really plan on doing this every year, and just make adjustments from year to year from what happens when I am when I'm in the process and I'm learning from it. Then I'll just adjust it either midway or for the next year. And I want to share it, and I want to let the other team members know at my school what I'm doing, and maybe help them replicate it in their classroom. And then I just see me doing more and more action research projects for different areas. If you want some references for things you can read about this, you can look right here and read these. I also have a lot of other things. All right. Thanks for listening. Goodbye.